World leaders adopted the United Nations Millennium Goals in September 2000, where nations of the world were committed to a new global partnership aimed at eradicating extreme poverty and hunger, improving maternal health, promoting gender equality, among other time-based goals, with a stated deadline of 2015. World leaders adopted the United Nations Millennium Goals in September 2000, which committed nations of the world to a new global partnership aimed at reducing poverty and other time-based targets with a stated deadline of 2015. According to the United Nations, the number of people living in extreme poverty declined worldwide by more than half, falling from 1.9 billion in 1990 to 836 million in 2015. However, its reports revealed that nearly 60% of the world's poor people lived in China, India, Bangladesh, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Nigeria in 2011. This contributed to more than 42,000 people who were forced to abandon their homes and seek protection due to armed conflicts in 2014 in Nigeria. Nigeria, like most sub-Saharan nations, failed to meet most of its targets due to a multiplicity of health system-related and political systematic challenges leading to the birth of the SDGs. On the global agenda, we explore the development opportunities across the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, from no poverty, reduced inequalities, gender equality, climate change, and more. Goal 16 is aimed at ending violence and promoting the rule of law, strengthening and increasing access to justice that has deprived millions of their rights to security, opportunities, and justice in their countries. The menace of jungle justice is a form of unofficial killings in sub-Saharan Africa, and most notably in Cameroon and Nigeria, where a group humiliate, beat, summarily execute accused criminals in public. Torture style ranges from beating, muddy treatment, hanging, and sometimes setting victims ablaze. This denies victims of the opportunity for fair trial.
Good for him. It's good for him. He has come like that.
I think the major issue is that of the weak criminal justice system that unfortunately is not punishing offenders adequately, and over time the trust that the public has given to especially the security agency, which is a component of the criminal justice system, has waned to the extent that people have devised their own means, as it were, to exact justice. There's also the cultural values associated with offending in the society and in our communities, and of course how certain persons have taken upon themselves the responsibility to punish offenders within that cultural.
Though a barbaric act as old as time, this practice still prevails till date in some communities in Nigeria, as is the case of 4 Nigerian male youth, popularly remembered as Alu4, which broke the hearts of many and shook the moral compass of the country in Rivers State. These innocent students of the University of Port Harcourt were killed after a confrontation where they demanded payment from a debtor who screamed "armed robber," which attracted a mob which descended and eventually burnt them alive.
As all the blood is shedding, as all these people drown, God help us all. Rest in peace, Chidi. Rest in peace, Lloyd. Rest in peace to Kenna. Rest in peace, Ugona. Rest in peace to the students murdered in Adamawa State. Rest in peace to those 2 young girls.
Another example is the case of the Apo 6, where policemen killed 6 young Nigerians wrongfully accused of armed robbery. Many other innocent Nigerians have suffered the same fate.
Impatience, the inability of people to walk through the criminal justice system, even when the criminal justice system is on the right course and on the right path. And clear examples of this you will find in Nigeria, when someone is already in police custody, and yet rioters or the components of the mob will still want to go to the police station to break the cell. You cannot ascribe it to a failure in the criminal justice system, because the criminal justice system has already been activated and is the wheel of the justice has started rolling, but somebody somewhere is impatient, clearly impatient with the criminal justice system.
Though Ahmed barely made it with his life, others haven't been so fortunate.
I was closing back from lectures and Ugi State Polytechnic, to be precise, and I was running my ND program at that time, so closing back from lectures and past this very guy, and before I know it, some group of men rushed me, started beating me up, and I was like, what's the problem? They told me that there was a guy who was a thief that they've been suspecting, or a suspected thief, let me say, that they've been trying to catch for a long time, that we are both putting on the same jersey. The reason why I'm smiling is that I appreciate God, because it's always a time that whenever I remember the incident, I know it was just actually God that was in control. If not, I won't be here even granting the interview.
A number of stakeholders, including traditional and religious leaders, directly have the power to influence the behavior of their followers.
Under the Sharia of Islam, non-Muslim is allowed to take law into his hands. Whatever somebody may say or do, it must be brought to book according to the provision of Sharia. That reminds me of a case which took place some years ago in Kebbi State, where some Muslims kill a non-Muslim due to the fact that they claim that that very person accused Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and they went ahead to kill him, and they were brought to justice up to the Supreme Court. It happened. The person who presided their case at the Court of Appeal is the current CJN, and he sentenced 9 of them to death due to the fact that they took law into their hands. In other words, Islam teaches us whatever happened, we should take it to the court of law, and it is only the court of law who has the authority to prosecute or not. Islam is all about peace, tolerance, and coexistence.
The primary role of the Christian faith is not to, if you like, grow up, then they don't end up like, some of the unfortunate incidences that we've seen where, Christians, professing Christians, are the ones asking for kerosene to be brought, asking for tires to be brought, and lighting matches to burn people alive, simply because they've mistakenly assumed that that person has stolen a loaf of bread. That is not the kind of life, that is not the way that Jesus Christ, taught us to live our lives. That is not the example that he has set for us, that is clearly laid out in the Bible. There's no point saying, Jesus is the answer, and then your first response to a particular situation is to go in the complete opposite direction of a man who was a man of peace. There's a due process that needs to take place. You are not the police. You are not a court. You cannot carry out, summary judgment on an individual and decide that you take it upon yourself to decide whether they should live or die.
Thank you for joining me on Global Agenda. I am Ukeme Etuknwa.